I got asked a great question on one of my videos recently, which was, what are my options when I get two shots? And for me, there's three different options. You can play an aggressive shot, you can play a defensive shot, or you can play a mixture of both. So let me smash open the balls and we'll have a look at each one. So the three options that you've got are aggressive, defensive, or a mixture of both. And the option that you choose will depend on a few things. It'll depend mainly on the layout of the table, but also the level of player that you're at and how confident you are of taking away a finish. It might make more sense to play a more defensive shot and try and take the finish away in 2 or 3 goes. But also the abilities of your opponent. You might want to be a bit more defensive just to give yourself a safety net. But for the purposes of this example, we're going to go aggressive. I've been given 2 shots, I've got ball in hand, so what that means is I can pick the cue ball up and I can put it anywhere behind this baulk line and I can choose to hit any ball that I want. Now I'm on yellows, and if I look at the table, they are all in potable positions apart from this one. This red blocks it into here. So the aggressive shot would be to take that yellow ball out, put it in a potable position. Now what you can do is you could try and pot it on your first shot right down there, or put it over the pocket if needs be. You know, you can play almost both shots in one. So if I do that, I'll put it down there. I won't let that go in, didn't want that. I probably wouldn't play that shot because there's a bit of a risk that if it doesn't go in, it sticks in this pocket, which is fine, but it just makes that ball a little bit awkward. It means that I'm having to play a plant onto it. The more obvious shot, I think, would be just to kind of bump it out over to the middle pocket. So if we just do something like this, we've put it into a much better position now. I can pot this one, then I can pot that one. Now I did mention that there should be 2 things that you're looking to do every time you get this free shot at the table. So that was one of them. I was bringing it into a better position. But the second thing I want to think about is position here. Now I was on another ball there, and that's fine. I could have potted that, and then I could have potted that. But if I look at this table and I want to finish this in one go, then what I'm thinking about is I want to clear this half of the table and then make my way down to that side of the table because the 8 ball is there. I've got 2 balls there. This one and this one could both be my last ball before the 8 ball. So if I played that first shot again, where I just bumped it out to here and I left the cue ball here, it means that I'm having to take this ball. And then I'm probably having to take this depending on the angle that I've got. This means that this ball is now a bit of a problem because I'm having to get the cue ball back up the table, I'm having to get on this ball, and then I'm having to pot it and get into a potable position on one of the 3 down there. So I probably wouldn't do that. This is potentially a mini problem. So with this first shot, I would look to solve 2 problems. Number 1, I would take this into a potable position, and number 2, I want to leave myself positioned on this first, so I can pot this and then move my way down the table. This is always going to be an option. You know, if I get on this ball, it's almost guaranteed to have position on that. So the way to do that would be just to kind of move your cue ball to a thinner position. You're playing the same shot, you're trying to bring the yellow out to here, but you're trying to bring the cue ball back a bit as well for this one. So if I play it like this, I've now done 2 in 1. So now I've got almost the exact same scenario. I can pot this and get easy position on this, gets me onto that, and then I've got my choice. I would probably want to get on this one. But that's what I mean about trying to do 2 things. So it's not just let's develop this ball, let's develop it and get position. So now let's look at what we do with a defensive situation. So we'll move on to the defensive shot now. So let's just change things up slightly. I've got ball in hand again, I'm on yellows, now everything is possible. I could go all in and pot this and move down there and try and play these shots. Or you could play a little bit of a defensive shot. So you could give yourself a bit of a safety net. If you look at the red balls, they're also in good positions. So with your first free shot, what you can do is you can just make this one a little bit more awkward just by placing the ball there. And if I just glance off it, I've now put it, I maybe hit it a bit too hard, but I've now put it on this cushion. So it means that if I miss and my opponent gets a chance at the table, to get a decent pot on that, he's needing to get the cue ball into about this position. Now when it was here, it could be anywhere on the table to get that same shot. So by placing the object ball there, and I would have much rather have got it there to make it a more difficult shot, it gives yourself that safety net in case you miss. So this is what I'm talking about, the level of player that you're at. If you're not 100% confident in finishing all that, then give yourself a safety net. In fact, even if you are, there's very few players at a really good level who probably wouldn't play that shot first. And as I say, you can play a variation of that shot many ways. So if the ball is there, for example, you could glance off it this way, and you're just putting it, again, that was duff. You're just putting it on that cushion. So just like that. So it means that, and again, this is the two things that you're remembering. So I'm wanting to get this safe, and you'll notice with both shots that I played, I've got myself onto that ball. So you can do that defensive shot just by putting a ball near the cushion. Another way to do it would be, let's say we've got this red ball here. Now this red ball is still potable if my opponent gets a chance. Let's say this one is here. Okay, so if I miss, my opponent gets a chance, they've got a chance at finishing this. What you can do is if you take your cue ball there and just play a slow little shot like that. Again, two things that I'm doing. I'm getting onto this ball. I've now tied up two of his shots. So have a look, because some defensive shots are better than others. So that one, I've actually made two balls a problem rather than just one. So let's now look at how do we do a defensive and aggressive shot all in one. Just before I move on to this last point, can I ask, if you do like the content I produce, could you please consider supporting the channel? Now there are a number of ways that you can do this. You can simply hit that like, subscribe, share, add a comment below. Any of them will help my video reach more people. Or if you're feeling a bit more generous, you could go to the Buy Me a Coffee page, which I've added in the description, and send me a donation. Or there's subscriptions and items that you can buy on that page. Just have a look around and see if there's anything that's suitable to you. And lastly, you'll notice that I add Amazon links in the description too. Now they're links to things that I use in my videos, such as balls and chalks and table irons and stuff like that. So if you bought one of those items, I would receive a commission, and it doesn't cost you any extra. But also, if you simply click on the item and then decide to buy something else completely different, I still get a commission on that additional item that you buy. So if you want to go buy a Ferrari, that would help me out a lot. Okay, last one, aggressive and defensive together. What a deadly combination. So we'll use the same kind of setup as before. We know the aggressive shot would be to bring this ball out. We can bump it down to there. We can try and bring it to the middle of the table. We know the defensive shot would be to put this ball safe, and we can kind of put it near here. But we can combine them. So if I do something like this, where I cannon the red ball onto the yellow, you can see I've put the red ball onto the cushion. Still potable, but it's harder there than it was there. This one is now definitely potable, and we've thought about the second thing as well, which is position. So again, I'm potting this, I'm potting this, I'm potting this, then I'm on that one, and I've got my choice before I finish this game. And I've also got that little bit of a safety net. If my opponent gets a chance, that is slightly awkward. Now there are more aggressive and defensive shots combined, so let's look at another one. Okay, I've mixed this one up slightly because we've not covered this scenario yet. We're on yellows, they're all potable, except the yellow and the black ball are covering each other. So the aggressive shot would be to place the cue ball anywhere and bring them open. We look at the best way to do that. And remember, it's an open table, so we can, if we want, hit the black ball first and try and do that. That would be the aggressive shot. We could play a hybrid shot, so aggressive as in we're going to open them up, but also defensive, because what we could do is we could glance off this red, put it to this cushion and try and get it somewhere around there that just makes it slightly more awkward. If we do that, then we might still be able to open them up. So there we go. We've done that very well there actually. So the red ball still possible, can still get on it, but it's not out in the middle of the table like it was before. The black ball slightly covers it, which is good. Your opponent could probably pot that one and get the cue ball through to there. But what that does mean is, if they do get it to there, they're going to be left with a fairly straight shot, which limits their positional options. The only thing that's gone slightly wrong in this is that I have covered this pocket for the black ball. But it shouldn't be any problem because we can still get on it here. There's still a wide margin of error if we land the cue ball in there to get on it. So all in all, I've brought my two bad balls out. I've made my opponent slightly more tricky. And remember, we always look to do two things. We want position as well. And I have got position on that ball. So I'm happy with that shot, and I would hope to clear up the table from there. So we're reaching the end of the video, and I just want to say a big thanks for watching it, and I hope you found something useful in it. Despite this being a relatively straightforward finish, in a moment I'm going to do my best to actually mess it up. But I do recover the situation quite well with a good positional shot. But I just want to say, if you have enjoyed this video, then you might enjoy this video that's about to come on the screen just now on aiming, which has proved to be really popular. Thanks for watching.